Welcome to the fourth video in the series where I go past the bounds of reality and show you things in Fnaf games never seen before. There are a lot of events in Fnaf 4 that are tied to RNG, but I'm basically going to take a look at what would happen if the RNG was completely broken and caused impossible things to happen. Since the last video, I've been trying to figure out what number comes after 3, but thankfully these commenters were able to remind me, so thank you. Fnaf 4 actually doesn't have a lot to talk about, so I'm going to drag out this video by diving deep and calculating the specific chances of these events occurring. But if you're more interested in looking at the code of the game, or seeing some silly visual gags, you might want to check out the previous episodes. Anyways, let's begin. Every time you move to the center of the bedroom, a random number will be rolled from 1 to 100. If this number is 3 or less, then one of 3 hospital items will appear on the bedside table. Each one specifically has a 1 in 100 chance to be chosen. So it's theoretically possible that each time you turn towards the bed, the same item would be sitting there, such as flowers. Well, unless the Freddles appear on the bed. In that case, the game will set the random number to 4, removing any special items. On night 1, every 2 seconds, a random number will be rolled from 1 to 40. If this number is 1, then a distorted radio sound will play at 60% volume. If this number is 2, then it will play at 30% volume. But on night 2 and onwards, the number will be rolled from 1 to 200 every 2 seconds. If this number were to roll a 1 every time, then you'd be hearing that radio sound for the whole night. And what's the chance for the radio to stay at its maximum volume for the whole night? The chance gets rolled 179 times throughout the night. That makes it a 1 in this number chance on night 1. And for night 2 and onwards, well, my calculator just broke. Even in the theoretical world, the chance is as good as 0. And that's about all the interesting Easter eggs in Fnaf 4, so now it's time to look at the animatronics. I'll start with Bonnie and Chica, then Foxy, and then Fredbear. Freddy has to sit this one out since he's not random. Bonnie and Chica each have an AI and 20 chance to move every 5 seconds, and they always start out in the center of the living room. So it's possible for Bonnie and Chica to just stay in the living room without moving. I guess they're binging something on Netflix. But it's only possible for them to stay there for the whole night on nights 1, 6, and Nightmare mode. Since on nights 2 through 4, they will get forced to your door after a certain time, and on 420 mode, they have a 100% chance to move. Now let's calculate the chance of them watching Netflix for the entire night. There's some rules they must follow before they move, such as, thou shalt not move whilst the player is listening at the door. So my following calculations are going to assume that you only visit the closet and the bed for the whole night. On night 1, their AI levels start at 0. At 2 AM, both of their AI levels get set to 1. At 3 AM, Bonnie's AI gets set to 3, and Chica's AI gets set to 2. This means that Bonnie has to fail 12 movement opportunities at 1 AI and 35 opportunities at 3 AI. The chance of Bonnie never moving is 1 in 547. The only difference with Chica is that she politely goes up to 2 AI instead of 3. So we just need to change one number in our calculation. The chance of Chica never moving is 1 in 74. If we combine them, the chance of none of them moving throughout night 1 is 1 in 40,409. Uh-oh, that number is low enough that it could actually be achievable. So let's look at night 6, where they have a higher chance to move. Specifically, they have a 12 in 20 chance to move up until 4 AM when Fredbear spawns. This means they both have to fail 48 movement opportunities, but the last one happens right at 4 AM, so I'm just going to say 47. The chance of Bonnie and Chica never moving in night 6 is 1 in 25 undecillion, and on Nightmare mode, they have a 15 in 20 chance to move up until 4 AM, so the chance of them never moving in Nightmare mode is 1 in 392 septendecillion, making it the world's rarest Netflix binge. But even if they do move, they could still never end up in the hallway. You see, when Bonnie or Chica are in the left or right side of the living room, they have a 50% chance to either move to the hallway or the room to the right of them. So what's the chance of them never entering the hallway on Nightmare mode? It would be impractical to try and calculate that chance based on all these factors. So that's why I wrote a simulation, which could simulate thousands of nights every second and tell you how long it took until Bonnie or Chica ended up in the hall. I ran this program for a long time, and I was almost able to make it to 3 AM without Bonnie or Chica ever entering the hallway. But after a million attempts, I wasn't even close to reaching 4 AM. I then did a simulation for night 6, and I was able to make it to 3 AM. So both night 6 and 7 are so unlikely it might as well be impossible, but it's still more likely than them never moving at all. As a bonus, I also did a simulation for night 1 a couple times, but since it was so likely, I instead got it to calculate the average number of attempts. So if you want to beat night 1 without ever visiting the doors and Bonnie and Chica never entering the hallway, then it would take you around 12 tries. Now let's look at Foxy. He starts out in the center of the living room, and he has an AI in 10 chance to move every 5 seconds. From the center, he has a 50-50 chance to move to the left or right side of the living room. Once he succeeds his next movement opportunity, he has a 90% chance to move to the opposite end of the living room, and a 10% chance to enter the hall. On night 6, Foxy's AI is 10. On Nightmare mode, his AI is 15. And on 420 mode, his AI is 20. But this doesn't matter since he has an AI in 10 chance to move, so on all 3 of these nights he's guaranteed to move every 5 seconds. Now let's do that test again to see if we can get through a night without Foxy ever reaching the hall. Surprisingly, it takes not too many attempts, so I again switched to calculating the average attempts. And according to the results, if you want to complete night 6, 7, or 420 mode without Foxy ever entering the hall, it should take you around 114 tries. And in case you're curious, it takes about 5 attempts for night 1. Now let's look at the other end of the spectrum and see how aggressive they could get. Like I mentioned before, once Bonnie and Chica are in the left or right side of the living room, they have a 50% chance to enter the hallway. Once they succeed at another movement opportunity, they'll go straight to the door. Now in case you forgot, they have an AI and 20 chance to move. That means if they're at 1 AI, then they could move as if they were on 420 mode. So on night 1, once it hits 2 AM, it could take just 15 seconds for Bonnie and Chica to end up at your door. Once you close them out, they'll go back to their side of the living room. But once you leave the door, it could take them just 2 movement opportunities to get back to your door. And if you end up leaving at a 5-second interval, then it could take them as little as 5 seconds. But don't worry, they won't always be at your door. On 10-second intervals, if you're not listening to the door, then they will go back to the hallway. And once you clear them from the hall, they'll go back to the center of the living room, which buys you some time. You can also cancel both of their movement opportunities if you close the door on one of them and keep the door closed after they leave. So it's not all bad, but it will still be a crazy night 1. And how bad could Foxy get? Well, pretty bad. On night 2, Foxy starts out with 1 AI and gets set to 4 AI at 3 AM. So let's just say he succeeds every movement opportunity, so he moves every 5 seconds on night 2. And let's say that he moves to the right hallway and then rolls the 1 in 10 chance to enter the hall. Now Foxy is already in the hallway after 10 seconds into the night, so we go to the right hallway and flash him away. But then, he rolls the 1 in 2 chance to go back to the right side, and then rolls the 1 in 10 chance to go straight back into the hallway. Now Foxy doesn't wait for you to leave the door until he starts moving again, so it can take him just 5 seconds after flashing him away to end right back in the same hall. Hey everyone, this is me from the future. So it turns out it could take less than 5 seconds. In fact, Foxy can just instantly go back to the hall once you turn off the light. So if I time this right, boom, you see Foxy just went right back to the hall when I flashed him away. So yeah. And if this were to happen for the whole night, we basically have no chance of keeping him out of the closet. Whatever, now that he's in the closet, how bad could it get? Once Foxy is in the closet, his movement opportunities will instead increase his progress. Once he first enters the closet, his progress will be randomly set from 3 to 7. And once his progress reaches 10, then he'll kill you once you enter the bedroom. So that means it could take him just 10 to 15 seconds minimum to be in his kill state after entering the closet. But unless everyone else requires your immediate attention, you should have enough time to stop him. Now here's the question, is it possible to beat 420 mode with the worst possible luck? Well, yes, and it's been proven by the Bones5 YouTube channel on YouTube, where he manages to beat all of the hardest challenges in Fnaf 4 by modding the RNG in the game to be similar to what I just talked about. So if you'd like to see how it's done, go check out that video linked in the description. Okay, the last animatronic I'm going to go over is Fredbear. Fredbear has an AI and 20 chance to move every 3 seconds. He starts in the center of the living room. From there, he has a 50-50 chance to move to either side. Then, he has a 50-50 chance to either move to the other side of the living room or enter the hall. It's possible for him to choose to go into the hall each time, but that actually makes the night easier since when you close the door on him, he goes to the opposite side of the living room. So all you have to do is just go back and forth the whole time. But here's something funny I thought of. What if Fredbear just went down the same hall every time? Let's say the right hallway. In order for this to happen, Fredbear would simply have to fail entering the left hall every time. That's simple enough. But what about him entering the bedroom? Well, there's two things that cause this to happen. One is if he's been in the hallway for 10 seconds, and you go to the opposite door. In this case, he'll enter your bedroom without laughing. But as long as we don't go to the left door, we won't have to worry about this in our case. The second way he can enter the bedroom is that a number will be randomly generated between 1 and 2 every second. While he's not in the bedroom, if this number is 1 for a cumulative 30 seconds, then there's a 1 in 2 chance he will laugh and enter the closet. If this number is 2 for a cumulative 30 seconds, then there's a 1 in 2 chance he will laugh and enter the bed. So as long as we get lucky, we don't have to worry about him ever entering the bedroom. So, can we just stay at the right door for the whole night? Well, no, because Fredbear will automatically kill you if you haven't run for 25 seconds. So we would have to run back and forth between the bedroom and the right door. Now, let's see the chance of this happening. I wrote another program to simulate night 5, where Fredbear is active for the whole night with an AI of 12, and I assumed the player never goes to the opposite side that Fredbear is on. It's pretty unlikely to occur. If you want to beat night 5 with Fredbear only going down one hallway and never entering the bedroom, it would take you around 3,800 tries. And what about night 6? Fredbear has an AI of 15 on night 6, but he's only active for 2 hours, making it much more likely to happen. It should take around 15 tries. The last thing I'd like to talk about is the light flickering. As your danger increases, then every few seconds there's a danger -1 in 10 chance for the light to flicker for a random amount of time. If that chance fails, then the light could never flicker up until the last moment you get jump scared, and it could look something like this. When Fredbear is on the bed and you send him away, then the light will go completely off for 5 frames, and then for 15 frames it will set a random transparency from 0 to 49. But if it chose 0 every time, then it would look like this. This has a 1 in 30 septillion chance of happening. So that's everything from the night sections. Now it's time to look at other parts of the game. On the 6 AM screen, each number will be set to a random value before turning to 6 o'clock. Every 0.25 seconds, each number will be set randomly from 0 to 9, but after some time, they'll be set to the correct number. So, there's a 1 in 10 duodecillion chance that each number stays on a specific number the whole time. On the extras menu, it's possible for there to be no static. I don't feel like explaining this one because I'm lazy, so here's the formula. In the mini-games, every 0.25 seconds, there's a 1 in 10 chance for a teardrop to fall from the kid. So if that chance succeeds every time, then he'd be throwing a fit. While he's in the backstage room, both eyes each have a 1 in 5 chance every 0.2 seconds for a teardrop to fall. so he'd be throwing an even bigger fit in here. And finally, the title screen. How many random events can you spot on the title screen? Well, we got the leaves blowing, we got the title fading in and out, we got the title glitching, we got these black bars on the title, we got these red bars on the buttons, we got the buttons fading in and out, and we got these stars fading in and out. So I went through and ruined every one of these. Well, that's everything from FNAF 4. You may have noticed that I skipped some things, such as the ambient sounds, Nightmare BB, and other things. And that's because there really wasn't anything interesting to talk about with them. Make sure to check the comments for any corrections. I swear I've never done this much math in my life, and I'm sure I messed up every fact I stated in this video. If you'd like to see me do sister location, then leave a comment, and make sure to join the Discord linked in the description. Until next time.